This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is now available on Amazon. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Count time on the compound. All inmates return to bunks. Beyond the Count, Life on the Compound. Brought to you by former Sergeant Allen of the Florida Department of Corrections. On this YouTube channel, I will explain to you the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts of a prison. Hope y'all enjoy. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you are a brother or sister correctional officer, y'all remember, be safe and we never walk alone.
All right, y'all. So I want to talk about complacency. I want to talk about things that, under normal circumstances, if we were paying attention, we wouldn't do, but that I've seen happen on the job. Things that we know are against policy, yet they happen on a daily basis. Something that happened yesterday, as a matter of fact, where I work, I was almost in disbelief when I heard it. Officers will sometimes have inmates, and we will use them. We will use them as orderlies. Now, where I work, there is a where I work is probably more relaxed than any place I've ever worked in corrections. Not necessarily a bad thing because it's definitely a different institution than I've ever worked at in corrections. It's a lot more laid back. It's a different class of inmates. It's not the running and gunning that I dealt with in Florida or Louisiana. But it is nonetheless still a correctional facility. That being said, sorry, I'm just waking up. The administration where I work permits us to do things that I've never seen allowed in other institutions. One thing that is allowed is we're allowed to carry our own handcuff key. No other facility have I ever worked at has allowed me to carry my own handcuff key. That's mine. That's not issued by them. I bought that. Well, yesterday, and I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I heard that there was an experienced CO there that allowed an inmate to use her handcuff key to open a padlock, which takes a handcuff key to open. Seemingly harmless because she was standing right there. But this goes to the complacency that I'm talking about in corrections. Granted, I deal with this inmate every day. He's not a bad inmate. He's not a dangerous inmate. Honestly, he would be one of those inmates that if I would have run into him, if I would have ran into him on the street and him being the way he is in prison, I could see myself hanging with the dude. He's not a bad guy. But you do not give up your keys. Any key. You do not have an inmate hand you equipment. Inmates don't need to touch radios, handcuffs, keys. You know, I have seen in my career officers who will allow inmates to use flap keys when they're feeding confinement. Flap keys for the bean flap. You don't think an inmate can take those flap keys and make their own? They absolutely can. I've seen templates for them. This is some of the complacency that I'm seeing in corrections that needs to stop. We need to remember where we work. It doesn't matter if you work. It doesn't matter if you work at Andy and Barney's County Jail with Otis the town drunk, and he knows where his cell is every Friday night, or if you work at Leavenworth. We need to do better. We as correctional officers, and I'm not saying that I'm 100% innocent of being complacent. Sometimes I try not to be. In fact, I'll admit I probably go a little overboard with making sure that I don't, but it happens. We all get the proverbial condition white when we really should be about condition orange. In fact, I say we need to be at condition orange every day, but there are days that we just get condition white. We get a little too comfortable with our surroundings. We shouldn't. Because again, even at Andy and Barney's County Jail with Otis the town drunk, things may pop off. People could get hurt. You could get hurt. You could get me hurt or your fellow officers. Other inmates can get hurt. An escape can happen. These are sacred. While I'm on that subject, I'm going to get on another pet peeve of mine. There's one thing that's on a lot of CO's duty belt that is not on my belt. There's no key hanger on my belt. There will never be a key hanger on my belt. My keys stay in my pocket. Period. You will not find a key hanger anywhere on my belt. Out of sight and out of mind. Why are my keys out of sight? Let's take a look at what I have on here. Personal handcuff key that I use for work. House key. Key to my pickup truck. Key to my other car. Key fob to get into my other car. Along with some trinkets on here. Now, if my car is out in the parking lot, my keys are hanging on a key hanger, and I've got to run somewhere. My keys fall off my belt. Inmate gets it. Well, where I work, we have inmates that work outside. A lot of institutions do. Even some of the higher custody facilities I've worked at down in Florida, they got inmates that go outside. They have car wash orderlies. I'm going to feel really stupid if an inmate gets a hold of my car keys, uses my key fob, steals my car, and puts the general public at risk. How stupid do you think I'm going to feel? Sounds like a pretty dumb thing to have happen to you, right? You think inmates won't escape and steal a car? They're inmates. I don't care if they're trustees, which I hate that term, by the way, because I don't trust none of them. I put nothing past an inmate, period. Nothing. Every inmate is capable of doing bad things. That's why they're in jail. They may not be in jail for anything other than a small mistake. But I don't look these guys up. I don't know what they're in for. It's none of my business. That being said, I don't trust them. And I'm certainly not going to put myself in a position where if I give up my keys, they're going to go out and cause harm to the general public. Because my job is to protect the general public from my inmates and my inmates from the general public. Likewise, handcuffs. Well, what's the harm in giving an inmate a pair of handcuffs? Well, apparently, y'all don't know what brass knuckles are. Are handcuffs a weapon? Absolutely. Take a pair of cuffs, you put it on your fist like that. You punch somebody in the mouth, it's gonna hurt. You don't think you can cut somebody with the single strand portion of your handcuffs? Absolutely. Can you make a shank out of it? Hell yeah, you can. Absolutely, you can make a shank out of it. What about your radio? Well, what if an inmate disables your radio? You got your radio, you need to call for help. You pissed an inmate off. Now he's plotting to hurt you. Is it worth it? Hell no. You key up that radio and you put out a 1024, you would kind of like somebody to respond. Well, what if he disables it? How hard is it to disable a handheld radio? Really, it's not that hard. If I pop off the PTT button, granted, I know more about radios than most people. There's some inmates that know about radios too. There's inmates that know about electronics. What about your gas? Is your gas not considered an intermediate weapon? Absolutely, it is. Why do you carry gas? It's your intermediate weapon. It can be used for self defense. It can be used to gain compliance. It can be used for a lot of things. We all got sprayed to carry gas, right? I've seen some of y'all get sprayed. Some of y'all can't handle it. I eat it, but I'm not most people. How about your personal body alarm if your facility has it? What if they disable it? Hit your man down button. Nobody comes. You got 30 inmates kicking your ass. Pretty scary situation. You do not give inmates tools. Your your tools that you use for work. That's a great example of a very bad idea. We need to do better. I don't care how long this inmate has been your orderly. I don't care if this inmate is a trustee. I don't believe in trustees. I believe trustees, the term trustee creates a false sense of security because, first and foremost, they're still inmates. And most of them are not in jail for singing too loud in church. Y'all think about it. Good morning.